The following is an ESG Lab video.
Welcome to another ESG Lab video summary, where I'll be reviewing our first look of OSNEXUS' scale-out block functionality with Ceph technology. While ESG research shows that 83% of organizations are interested in leveraging the benefits of software-defined storage, very few organizations are willing to wrestle with the complexity involved in deploying open-source SDS solutions. In fact, just 13% consider themselves prepared to implement SDS solutions using open-source software and commodity hardware as a DIY deployment. And then comes the cost, which is exacerbated by the fact that many organizations require a mix of scale-out block, file, and object storage, forcing organizations to manage and maintain separate hardware deployments for each type of storage. OSNEXUS is simplifying the deployment and management of scale-out SDS by combining its own proprietary storage hardware virtualization capabilities with open-source solutions from Ceph, GlusterFS, and ZFS storage. This offers organizations deployment flexibility while eliminating many of the complexities related to the configuration and management of SDS environments. OSNEXUS QuantaStor software is installed on commodity hardware or virtual machines, turning each resource into a scalable QuantaStor node. The nodes are then grouped together to form a QuantaStor grid. Independent scale-out storage pools can then be created, allowing organizations to deploy scale-out block, file, and object file systems simultaneously, while also being able to allocate unused storage from the QuantaStor grid to any of the file systems. Block and object storage leverage Ceph technology, while file storage leverages Gluster. ZFS can also be used for block and file. We focused our testing on measuring the time it took to deploy a scale-out Ceph-based block storage solution. Using a traditional DIY approach can take anywhere from hours to weeks, depending on the scale of the deployment, level of IT expertise, and scripting skills, not to mention the time involved in kernel builds and integration testing of the full storage stack, including drivers and file systems. OSNEXUS has taken a new approach. By focusing on the control plane, they've taken leading enterprise storage technologies like Ceph, integrated them into their grid management platform, and in the process greatly extended Ceph's capabilities. Most importantly, QuantaStor makes Ceph easier to set up and manage at scale. Using QuantaStor, the entire process of setting up and configuring a Ceph cluster was done from start to finish in under 10 minutes, completely within the web UI. We initialized each QuantaStor node and created a new Ceph cluster. Then we created Ceph OSDs on each node from a single screen, which included automatically creating RAID-protected storage pools and journal devices. Next, we created a Ceph storage pool spread across all the nodes, allocated block storage, and finally we provisioned a storage volume and mapped it to an iSCSI host with a single click. Again, this was all completed in under 10 minutes. So why does all this matter? By consolidating management tasks into a single interface, and both reducing and automating a number of configuration steps, deployment times are cut from days to minutes. Perhaps even more important, with the scale-out QuantaStor grid being fully abstracted from the Ceph, Gluster, and OpenStack technologies, OSNEXUS can deliver scale-out block, file, and object storage across a shared set of resources, lowering both capital and operational expenses. It may be difficult to comprehend the full benefits of OSNEXUS' technology until you see it in action for yourself. If you're considering deploying an SDS solution and looking for simplicity, flexibility, and savings, we suggest considering OSNEXUS. If you'd like to learn more, read the full report on ESG's website.